it was before 9/11, right? It was the previous year, and I had taken battalion command, and in our rotation of personnel to the unit, you receive and you lose so many people a year because they go to school, they go do other jobs, etc. They get out of the Army or they're new to the Army, etc. And so we had our normal influx of that throughout the summer. And we were getting ready to go to what we call the National Training Center, which is where we go and we execute force-on-force training. And it is a hard training event. It takes, everybody needs to know their jobs. Everybody needs to be physically fit. Everybody needs to be, just ready to go. Leaders need to be operating at the top. It's stressful physically and mentally, but it's the closest thing we can do to replicate actual war. Right. So we knew that was on the calendar and that was coming up and we had to go do that. Now, my mindset to that event was not that, hey, this is really good training and we'll learn a lot. My mindset was my purpose is to lead this battalion and go support the brigade and the division to fight and win our nation's wars. Right. That was my purpose. And so as the commander, what I was holding us accountable to, myself and the individuals and the teams, was that we were going to be well-trained, we were going to be physically fit, we were going to mentally put ourselves through so many experiences as much as possible that if something comes up, we knew how to react. And we were going to execute at the highest standards, right, to that end. Because, what is the fallout of that? The fallout is that you're not training, but you're actually in combat. And if you're not operating at that level, at the personal and teams, the highest level, then, people die.
Right.
And people dying, unfortunately, is a fact of war. With that said, I believed that if you train hard and you hold people accountable to the highest standards, right, then you have a better chance of living. You can't wipe out everything, but you have a better chance of surviving and, going through that. And, one of the things I used to tell my team was the difference between being ready and reacting at war will be measured in lost lives, right? And so I held myself accountable to that. So that's setting the situation. So we were out in the field and we were training on what I set the conditions on is I wanted to be able to take our unit, which was a logistics sustainment unit, and I wanted to move it from point A to point B, and I wanted to be able to echelon it, and I wanted to be able to rapidly occur. I wanted priorities of work to happen. So, we get in, we set up the defense, we establish communication, we create the security, wire, concertina wire. We begin operations, then we eat and then we, sleep roughly, in that order. And it's a really difficult task. I've been in many units over the years. I've been in them where it's not run well, and I've been in where it's run well. To me, it was all about defining the priority of work. Every individual knew what their job was. Every organization knew what their job was as an organization. And then we just built on it collectively in the unit. Well, this unit had never really gone through it this way. Not, it's just the way I did it, the way I chose to do it with them. And we went out to the field and I had several training things I wanted to achieve. But each training thing was going to get achieved the standard first before I went to the next one.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things we worked on first was how do you echelon movement, right? And we got past that. And then the second thing is how do you set up this massive organizational effort, which provides fuel, ammo, food, repair parts, maintenance, laundry and bath, right?
Yeah.
Medical support, maintenance support. How do you set up this little city in such a way that it deploys and gets reset up, right? And for me, it was standards and execution to the priorities and a time that I set. I said it'll be set up in 4 hours, period, which is an unheard of standard, quite
Yes,
frankly.
sir.
So we did it, and the first couple times, and it was a hot day. It was it was a hot couple of days. It was hot. It
Mhm.
was hot. The sun was out, and we did
Fort
it.
Irwin can be hot.
Yeah, well, we weren't at Irwin yet, though.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
We were at Fort Carson, Colorado,
Okay.
and it was very hot. Anyway, so we did it once, and it was really easy. I just said, okay, not good enough. Go do it again, which meant go all the way back, to the starting block, where all the trucks are loaded, and we come in at echelon. That meant repacking everything and getting back to the thing. So then they,
Sure, I was excited about that.
and then it came up again, and I said, okay, no way, not good. People really
Mhm.
thought they had it that time. I said, no, we've missed it. You're not done with your priorities of work. The standard of the work is not right, and we're well over 4 hours. Repack, do it again. And then the third time hit, and I was standing by the battalion Operation Talk. It's a big area. It was one click by one click by one click,
Mhm.
um, and um, and I was standing by the talk where I had everybody involved because there was a thought process that certain levels and ranks didn't have to do things. And
Mhm.
what I said is you're not making time because you're not utilizing everybody, and we're not being a team. And
Yeah.
now I'm getting a little upset myself, right? Because
Yes, sir.
I always pride myself in not being a screamer or a yeller, but I was starting to get a little, really, we can't figure this out on the third try. So I said, hey, not good enough. And the moans and groans came about. And I said, hey, everybody back to the starting blocks. Well, I had one officer that person had kind of gotten to, was working their ass off to do it right. But collectively as a team, we had to survive together. Didn't matter
Mhm.
what one person did. We all had to do it, right? We all had to collectively be at the right standard at the right time. Otherwise, the enemy finds the weakness
Yes, sir.
and comes in and exploits that. And so I was with my sergeant major at the time, who was a senior enlisted non-commissioned officer, and I said, "Hey, you handle all this. Get them back over there." And my XO, and I went and talked to the officer. I pulled the officer aside, and what I recognized was this person has never been through this type of stress,
Mhm.
physical stress, right?
Mhm.
And accountable, not intellectual, because this individual was incredibly smart, but the physical stress, the team approach. It's got to be bigger than just you. It has to be collective, right? And yes, I know what you did was perfect and spot on, but doesn't matter. It really doesn't
Right.
matter. And so, what I did was just, what any good leader would do is instead of just saying, get your ass back over there, I don't care, you're going to do what I say,
Mhm.
I took the time to walk the person through. I love to tell you, it was maybe 10 minutes of conversation.
Mhm.
And I said, hey, here's the deal, right? I am responsible and accountable in execution for our mission to support the rest of the brigade and division. And then I am responsible and accountable to you to make sure
Mhm.
you've been trained at the right standard, so that you have the greatest potential to, one, do your job, and two, to live, right?
Right.
And I'm not gonna lower my standards because it's a hot day.